Happy Monday. You know I'm laughing. I'm laughing because, some weeks, right? I'm right on the edge in terms of being ready for the show, right? I think this week's a record. 34 seconds. 34 seconds before the magic hour of 6 o'clock. That was the point that I was actually prepared. So I'm laughing. I shouldn't be laughing, but there you go. Guys, have you had a good week? I hope everyone is well. Of course, it is Monday. It is 6 o'clock, so this is the Monday Snack. Got a great guest today. What a dude. What a guy. Ridiculously talented gentleman. Phil Merriman, keyboard player extraordinaire, keyboard wizard, musician, just like otherworldly. Wonderful player, wonderful guy, really nice guy. And he gave me a lot of laughs. For reasons that might not be sort of immediately obvious, but he really made me laugh this week. We'll get to that later. But here's the first bit of our chat. As per usual, bit of history. There's some musical pedigree in Phil's family. Check this out. Okay, folks, today my guest is a very special guy. It's weird because we kind of met periodically, like, on and off over the space of over a decade. But he is an incredible pianist, keyboard player, bass player, MD, arranger, orchestrator, does all this stuff. It is the utterly amazing Phil Merriman. Phil, what is going on? How are you?
Man, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. What an intro. I have to keep up to that.
I keep saying perfectly justified, completely warranted. Really grateful that you've agreed to do this, right? So we're gonna have a bit of a chat. Like I said in my intro, very gifted musician. You're a bit of a special guy, and it's weird, but yeah, this whole decade-long gap between us first meeting, working together, and then randomly working together again. We're going to get into that later, actually.
Yeah, man.
But preparing for this, right, doing my research, I realised it's bonkers, right? I know little or nothing about your musical history. Like, literally nothing, right? So I want to know when and how you got into music, right? And on top of that, because of the musician you are, I want to get an idea of who your mentors were, in terms of musical education, in terms of, tuition, in terms of just people that kind of shows the ropes, because you've got a handle on a lot of stuff. You've got a lot of stuff going on. So I want to get an idea about that, right? So, yeah, give us an idea about history.
Cool, man. Well, I'll try and give you a potted Merriman history. But no, very musical house in terms of very encouraging musically. So my brother's 7.5 years older than me, and is a drummer and was playing piano a lot at home. So there was always music lessons going on around the home. I remember him showing me all these albums, like early Jamiroquai stuff, early Incognito albums, and just like thinking, this stuff's amazing. I don't understand a word of it. I don't understand a chord. I just remember connecting with it. Right. So home was a big place.
So are your parents musical?
They're musical in that, yeah, my mum plays piano and flute. Right. They're both very encouraging musically. So right. Both my grandparents, church organist, choir, singer, tenor. So it's in the family.
There's a Merriman pedigree going on. That's what you're saying, right?
I think the fact that my brother and I, we played together a lot at church growing up. We'd try and do family concerts. There were these big kind of Christmas concerts with my cousins. We'd all get together, and even when I was kind of 2 or 3, I'd be banging on a drum while every other cousin was playing their instrument. Family community, music, that kind of thing.
What was the education stuff like? So you must have had obviously piano lessons and other stuff, and what did that look like?
Yeah, so classical lessons from a lovely lady, and then who was very local to us from our church, and then Eventually, after doing kind of classical grades and that kind of stuff, I studied at York University.
Right.
And I had some tuition up to that point with a great classical pianist called Anthea Fry.
Right.
And at the same time that I was doing the classical stuff, I was just listening and gigging a lot since about 13, 14. So at school, had the most amazing music teacher, and he was very, very inspiring. He would play us, Wayne Shorter albums for like half of a lesson, and we were like 14, and we're sitting there listening to this like Beyond the Sound Barrier. Brian Blade going absolutely mental, Daniela Perez playing piano, and again I'd be like, what is this? I don't understand it, I'm not sure if I like it, but I was being exposed to this music by this teacher. He'd drive us to gigs pretty much every weekend, pubs around near the school. We did little tours, went to Ireland, went to Spain, Poland with this music teacher.
So the gigs you was doing around that age, right? Were they pop based, jazz based? What kind
jazz.
of
All jazz, like big band and a small band. And it's talking about mentors. It made me. I was just reflecting on this earlier and thinking how those people really have formed a lot of what I listen to and what I play.
Right.
And this music teacher was just a huge part of that. And for many people actually in the school that I was in, it was kind of like this class of 2 or 3 years worth of musicians who have gone right through to studied at music college, university, who are gigging, professionally and have been for 10, 15 years.
I didn't know what that school is, man.
Yeah, well, he's not there anymore, but
even me, I was playing in we had a borough big band.
Yeah.
I did that when I was about 11.
Yeah.
But I don't remember being exposed to things like Wayne Shorter and stuff like that. That's pretty involved. That's someone going in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I didn't like it. So
right.
I don't understand this.
Okay.
I don't understand. At the time, and like 3 years, 4 years later, I'm like, this is unbelievable. But I'm so, and like quite a lot of music that you can be exposed to quite early, you just don't get it, but you're drawn to it. Or you even have an opinion that you don't like it. And then that draws you in later to be like, why didn't I like it? Oh, hang on, I get that now. I did the local authority big bands and bands and played trumpet in like brass ensembles, that kind of stuff. Really good ensemble training.
Okay, so in terms of, because you play bass as well, right? So obviously multi-instrumentalists, right? You play 6-string guitar?
I'm not allowed because my wife plays guitar.
Right, okay.
That was the deal. So honestly, that was like, if this is going to be a thing, guitar's hers.
Yeah, because you seem to have a handle on just a lot of stuff, and a lot of stuff to a very, I would say, exacting level, which is what I find impressive.
I think that's what helps, is that like growing up in like brass bands, like playing a melodic linear instrument and understanding its part in an ensemble and like arrangement wise. And another reason why I took up the bass later on, about 13, 14, was just, I remember going to one gig. And I know the musician, I know that, there's this bass player called Steve, one of my brother's mates. He played a low B, like on a 5-string, and I was sold. I was like, I'm going to play that instrument. And I remember going home after the gig, drawing pictures of basses, like in the car, at the back of the car, just drawing bass guitars, being obsessed about this instrument.
bad boy, you know. He's a bad boy. That track, right, you just heard, that was the last gig I did. That was literally the week, I think a few days before we locked down. Lockdown version 1. That's the last gig I did. And that track is from my new album. And it's always such fun to play. Phil always completely just crushes it. Very talented guy. Very, very talented guy. I saw a thumbs up from Peter Turtle. Great to see you, man. And Stefan as well. Thanks for checking in, folks. Thanks for checking in. Right, so yeah, there's another solo coming up with him playing some stuff. Very, 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 very happening. Cousin Jeff, good to see you, mate. Good to see you. Right, so in this next bit of our chat, we were talking about Phil's versatility. Because, man, he covers a lot of stuff. Check this out. Here we go. First time we met was with Christian artist, the amazing Geraldine Latty, right? First time we met. Yeah. That was, wasn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it was.
So we did that event, and then roll on like 12 years, probably 13 years later. Yeah, I bump into this corporate wedding, right? Like a couple of years ago, some corporate, like high society wedding thing.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah, that's right.
That guy with it. And then some late 2019, you jumped on board helping me out with my band. Yeah. Now, I think, to me, it's fair to say, right, there aren't many musicians I know that can straddle multiple genres, right, with the same degree of authenticity and ability that you do. It's whether it's jazz, whether it's classical, whether it's pop, whether it's R&B, gospel, you jump on it, you got it all covered, right? And got it all covered to a really, really exacting high level, right? Simple question, man. Simple question. How, right? How? Because it's not like you don't seem to be just dabbling, right? You seem to just have stuff down. When we've been rehearsing with my thing, you sit down, you're going through the Hannon thing, and I'm just like, man alive, this guy's technique is ridiculous. So you're playing all that classical stuff to a really, really high level. The jazz, incredible grasp of harmony, right? And the way you blow over stuff is wicked. Then we did that. We did the corporate wedding. All the 3 hours of relentless pop tunes, right?
Yeah, 3 hours.
So relentless pop tunes. All the sounds, all the vibes, all the phrases, all the stuff, right? And then the gospel thing. The other day I saw a clip of you lashing a Hammond so hard.
Yeah.
You were hurting a Hammond. I was thinking, what is going on? So it's like you're in Atlanta, Georgia somewhere in some sort of Southern Baptist church somewhere, just killing it. So for me, right, how did you come so well versed in everything? How?
I mean, the typical answer, I guess, is like helpful to have that classical background. Like that was a massive help, and always is, and I'm always so grateful for that.
Sorry, I want to jump in when you say that, right? Because lots of people say the classical background would be great for the reading, the technique. Is it more than that?
Yeah, it's definitely more than that. For me, it's like you were talking about like crossing genres, and for me, it's always been a thing where I don't see them as much as genre crossing. And when there's this divide between jazz and classical, particularly in the teaching world, you'll get classical teachers that don't teach jazz, and jazz teachers that look down on this like too structured thing, or technique is like super more important than feel and harmony. I'm much more like where do these things blend? So for me, I'm not thinking I need to shed in this corner. I need to get this corner up to scratch to balance that one. It's like I love music, obviously.
It's all music,
and it's all music. It's listening, and it's like absorbing all those things. So
right,
for me, it's less like how do I cross genres, but it's more like what am I into, and that comes out. So and also that's true of like lots of classical music. So the guys that I'm really into are people like Bartok and Stravinsky,
Right.
And they're like playing these incredible Herbie Hancock voicings, in the 1920s, and you're like, this is insane. Like this has happened decades ago, and these guys are absolutely burning.
Right.
So for me, I get, and people like Messiaen as well.
Oh, really? Messiaen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Sitting down and just playing a couple of chords from that, and I'll be inspired for the next month.
Messiaen, I found Messiaen very hard, man. I found it very hard, just in terms of understanding it. Just to think, what's happening?
Yeah, no, it's insane, isn't it? But I remember my piano teacher at uni actually, John Taylor, so great legend UK jazz piano player. Sadly passed away about 5-6 years ago. Absolute beast. And he used to say that if he was ever running dry on inspiration, he'd sit down, listen to Messiaen's Quartet for the End of Time, and he'd be fueled up. Just fuels him up.
So you're saying you're trying to break down the walls between genres, but at the same time, that doesn't altogether explain how you've become so well versed in this stuff. There has to be some sort of process. You know what I'm saying? It's not as if it sounds like you're someone having a go at these things. It sounds like you're steeped in all of these different areas, which for me is rare.
I feel like I love living in each of those places.
Right.
And I could happily spend hours recording a jazz thing and then move straight onto like a R&B, gospel-y kind of feel, and just equally happy in each space. And in fact, sometimes the moving from one to another is what freshens up the next.
Okay, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
And
definitely,
and inspires the next. So yeah, it's still practicing classical material, even if I'm not gigging it. That's it. It's building up like the foundation for the next gig, even if it's not practicing for that gig.
Okay.
Like there's the kind of the myth, or possibly truth, that Bill Evans would play Bach every morning, but no one ever heard him gig it, and it was informing his playing. So that I'm a big fan of that.
So what about listening? There must be a lot of listening involved, and how does the listening translate to the playing?
There's loads of listening and lots of questions. I think it's just constantly asking people questions, and always willing to be a learner. That's a massive thing for me. And I've had teachers who have been so inspiring with that. They've actively told me, I'm not going to hold on to this stuff. This is for you. I want, these aren't my secret voicings that I'm going to keep for myself. You have to find them somehow.
Yeah.
But it's this kind of giving out.
I got the full Phil Merriman effect. That first rehearsal when you came over and you did that first gig with me, with my thing. And I remember sitting next door in the room playing, thinking, I knew this guy was good, but man, jeez, man, it was mad, absolutely mad. The boy can play. The boy can play. Jeez. Anyway, right? This next bit, I'm looking forward to this next bit, right? Because, let me tell you something, right? This made me laugh. This really made me laugh. My last few guests, right, have been taking this whole silly little quiz thing a bit too seriously. Getting genuinely upset. I mean, there's a moment of real distress from Phil here that really, really made me laugh. Here's the impossible choice quiz for this week. So this is the impossible choice quiz. Oh man, I love it. Musical accompaniment. This is great. Right. So I throw a couple of alternatives at you. You make a choice, right? The idea is no hesitation. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. Right. Jazz pianists. You knew this was coming, right?
Yeah.
Keith Jarrett or Herbie Hancock?
Herbie.
That's really interesting. I really thought you would have said that. I would have bet my money that you would have said Keith Jarrett. That's really interesting. That's great.
I would have said Keith Jarrett up till I saw Herbie live.
Okay, cool.
And then
beautiful.
I was sold.
Okay, great. Right, composers for piano, right? Classical composers for piano. Chopin, Frédéric Chopin or Claude Debussy?
Debussy. Without a doubt.
Wow, you know something? No hesitation. He's just like, no.
Without a doubt. You asked for quick fire, man.
Yeah, I'm loving it.
I'm ready.
I'm loving it. Okay.
Yeah, his voicings, his understanding of harmony. Chopin, I have a listening limit for Chopin. Love it for like 5-10 minutes, and then can't take too much of it.
Okay, interesting.
Debussy I could listen to for hours. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Grasp of jazz harmony. What a man.
Love it. Okay. Right, so you got the choice, right, to play solo piano, right, for the Super Bowl halftime show with either of these two artists, right? Dua Lipa or Lady Gaga?
Dua Lipa.
Man, there's no hesitation. He's just like...
I mean, I've heard some of her live stuff, like Bass MD, all over the gospel thing. So I think she'd be more up for that kind of...
Okay.
A few reharms in there. I don't think she'd be thrown by that.
Okay. Jazz pianist again, right? I think I know what you're going to say here. Right. Oscar Peterson or Chick Corea?
Oscar Peterson.
I've got one right. Okay. Stylistically, I kind of see that. I see that. Very cool. Okay. Right. The final one for this part of the quiz. You're moving your studio. You've got to leave one of these two things behind. What do you leave behind, right? You're leaving your Hammond organ or you're leaving your Fender Rhodes?
Oh, no. I'm leaving, and I can only take one with me.
Yeah. What are you leaving? Hammond or the Fender Rhodes? Hurry.
Oh, no.
Hurry. Hurry.
I feel actually sad. I feel genuinely sad.
Hurry.
And I don't own either of those.
Come on. What you leave behind? Come on. What you leave behind?
I'm going to leave the roads behind. Behind.
You sound actually distressed.
Don't say that sort of thing again, please.
Oh man, that's so funny.
That wasn't very nice.
That's one of the funniest ones because you've been so decisive on all the others. You're like, oh no, what am I gonna do? Great, okay, brilliant.
Hammond, it's a breathing thing. I mean, it's
I love that.
It's wood and air.
Cool. I managed to trip you up on one thing. That's great. Oh, that's so cool. Right, we've got another quiz in a while. Right. Now, what made me laugh? What really made me laugh about that, right? Phil had this I'm too cool for school thing going on for the first 4 questions. And then was completely floored by the last one. It was almost like, It's so funny. When he said, I'm actually really upset. Oh man, I shouldn't laugh, but that was funny. That was so funny. Oh wow. Tula Lynch. Great to see you, lovely. Great to see you. Right. Moving swiftly on. This bit of the chat, right? This was homework. This was like homework because I needed to know how my guy fits in everything. The guy's always busy. He's always doing stuff. So hard to get hold of sometimes. So I quizzed him. I wanted to know how he organises himself. Check this out. Some of the feedback, right, I've got about this podcast, yeah, folks seem to really like getting insight into how we go about doing what we do. And one of the significant things I've noticed about you over the last year working on my stuff, yeah, is you're always completely, totally prepared when you walk in to rehearsal. And that's not just in terms of having learnt the material, but also in terms of having great sounds programmed up, and you're really good at reprogramming stuff on the fly. This is all despite the fact, right, you seem to be the hardest working man in show business. You're always busy. When I'm trying to organise a rehearsal, you're always the person we have to accommodate because you're the busiest person.
Man,
you know,
I'm so sorry.
Right? So it'd be really good, I think, for folks to get an idea into how you organise yourself to cover all these bases, learning stuff, programming stuff. You know, you've got a young family, you've got all this stuff going on, right? This is the everyday stuff that people don't really see, right?
Yeah.
How do you organise yourself?
I think it's definitely accepting that there are seasons. And if you're trying to balance all those things at the same time, it's impossible because you end up spreading yourself way too thin. It's not feeling guilty when you're not doing one of those things, whether that be I'm not practicing at the moment, or I'm not gigging at the moment because I'm having to do this, or I'm not spending as much time with the family. Time off is like vital. So
Right.
I try and be really harsh with that, and like very, very rarely will like bite into that time. So that time moves around. It's not like always the set time every week.
Right.
But like giving myself time off or time on with like intentionally being with family or intentionally doing so. I think that's what working from that rest helps me drive when I am then working, because I'm coming out of rest. Doesn't always happen, but I do feel like you have to fight for rest. Otherwise, it doesn't happen naturally. It doesn't happen naturally for me, and I don't think it happens naturally in our culture either. Like, and it's so important because it powers and it fires what you're doing. I was speaking yesterday to a sax player mate who literally just said his New Year's resolution was to spend less screen time, and as a result, his improvising practice has increased and his creativity has increased. Another friend I spoke to on Tuesday last week, has given up Netflix since January. And again, she feels like she's got more headspace. Obviously, she's got more headspace. But these things are really hard. But I think there's no easy answer.
So you've said being intentional about rest.
Yeah.
And you've said there are seasons, and you know, there's sometimes, I guess, magic happens in the extremes, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, when you're really immersed in something musical and it's to, you know, the exclusion of other things, magic happens because you're really focused on it. That's what I find, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, so I call you, I say, would you want to come and play on my gig? Oh yeah, I'd love to do that, right? And you're already busy.
Yeah.
So then I go, check the Dropbox. You open the Dropbox and go, oh my God, there's all this stuff in there. And you've got to get your head around it. So when I say how do you do it, I'm saying in those moments when you know you're already busy and you have to get your head into something that's involved and tricky, how do you approach doing that? Because I know I have to get to the stage where I say to myself, not everything can be equally important at this moment in time. Something's got to take priority.
Yeah.
How do you decide?
So like often it's like the project that's screaming the most. Not in terms of the email, but like an internal thing saying that needs the most time. I know what's going to take the most time.
Right.
Actually, in our family, we sometimes call those things frogs. I'm not sure where that comes from. But sometimes like a frog is like a scary thing or something like a pending doom that you know that needs tackling first.
Right.
But often what we do is put that off and we do the small things around it.
So your frog, I love this. Frogs, man, it's great. So your frog, for example, you're tackling your frog and you know your frog is intense. You know your frog needs serious attention. Yeah. But you've got all these other frogs jumping around in the background as well. Yeah. Does that affect the amount of time you spend on the frog in hand? Do you compromise on the frog in front of you because you know you've got all this other stuff to do?
No, I think I just like finding corners where... Also, I'm like a big fan of like learning over time. So if there's a gig coming up that needs work, if I spend a whole day on that, it's nowhere near as effective as... It's much more effective if I'm listening on the way to another gig, listening on the way back, spend a bit of time transcribing stuff on the way home. When I get home, the next morning I might be listening to some like related listening. Look at the charts again on the way to teach somebody. That's much more how I'll do it, like over time, finding corners. I find that maybe that's the only way that I can manage it at the moment, but that I quite enjoy that.
What I like about your answer to this, right, is people would hear you play, and they'd think, you know, when you hear accomplished musicians like yourself play, you think, oh, there's no way they can do that unless they are waking up at 5 a.m., you know, doing a 8K run followed by, you know, a hummus and kale shake and like half an hour of yoga. You know what I'm saying? I guess we have this preconception that the gifted, the talented, the very, very capable are always ultra organised. I think it's the case that everything doesn't fit into neat little boxes.
Right. So it's embracing this season thing. So you're organised within that small season here. I'm doing this, and my focus is 100% over here. And then right now I'm on to the next thing, and my focus is 100% here. But it doesn't mean that I'm not having my curly kale smoothie every morning at 5 a.m. Absolutely not.
Yeah. No, that's.
But
you know
some
what?
mornings I might, like every now and then I might have that. So it's sort of all these things like in bittiness, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, this is what I'm hoping will really resonate with folks, because to a certain degree you might be the best kept secret. You know, I'm almost kind of, you know, nervous about doing this podcast because people can hear you play and think, oh, I've got to get that guy, and then I'll call you, you'll be busy. Right? But I think this will be really, really cool, because for people to get an insight as to how folks like you cope with busyness but still execute to such a high level, I think it's going to be really valuable.
Do you know, I would add to that, I think being in the room, so when you're in the room with those people, it's like being 100% there, and that is a big thing of what I do really try hard to do, because I'm aware that it's very easy to be, well, actually I've got to learn for this next gig, you know,
and your head somewhere else,
or so it's like just trying to be 100%.
As someone that's on the receiving of the writing and the pain of birthing stuff and projects and stuff, guys, you know, I'm so grateful for guys like you, all the folks who help me out, because that's what I feel I'm always getting. I'm getting this sense of real focus, a real sense of investment in what I'm doing. So it's really, really appreciated. Really, really appreciated. Now, what I found really funny about that part of the chat, right, was the serious look on my face as I'm talking about frogs. I'm saying, so the frog and I look like I was really intense, man. It's really, really funny. Very, very funny. Hi to Bob, hi to Maxine, hi to Paul, hi to Adam. Again, folks, thanks for dropping by. Now, guys, this Tour Life pop quiz. Last week I lost my mojo, right? I couldn't think of 3 silly scenarios. I was down to 2. Mojo's back. Inspiration returned. And I tell you something, I was absolutely crying. This is one of the funniest Tour Life pop quizzes. Purely, you got a handle on what feels like, right? So you know he's a really nice, very measured, just very chilled, you know, very measured guy. His reactions, right, for these quizzes, absolutely hysterical. So this, right, is the Tour Life pop quiz. I'm laughing because, you know, I come up with these ridiculous scenarios, right?
Yeah.
These scenarios are actually very ridiculous. Very, very ridiculous. And someone like you're a nice guy, you see. You're a nice guy. I keep saying the idea is to abandon principle, right, and be very, very calculating. So we'll see how you perform, right, with this. Right, so here's the first one. Here's our first scenario. Tour Life pop quiz. You're performing, right, at an exclusive private jazz gig, yeah, with your band, and you're supporting Chick Corea, okay? It's a birthday celebration for a billionaire industry tycoon, right, and it's set on his sprawling private estate. You finish your sound check with your band, yeah, but Chick and his band, they're running late. Production team, they ask you to sound check his piano. So you sit down at Chick's piano, tribute to the great man, you play an incredible solo version of Spain, his well-known composition, right? You play an unbelievable version of Spain, yeah? So the sound check, the subsequent show, they all go without a hitch. It's a rip-roaring success, yeah? Right, so following morning, Billionaire holds a farewell reception, holding it for you and Chick. Billionaire birthday boy himself. He makes an emotional speech. He's hailing Chick, right? He says, you know what, yesterday afternoon, I was walking across the grounds. I heard the most amazing version of Spain. It moved me to tears. It was life-changing. He's basically mistaken your version of Spain. He thought Chick was playing piano, right? He's so overcome, he presents Chick with the keys to a brand new Lamborghini based on that, right? He just had it delivered, but he's so overcome, he says, you know what, Chick, I have to give you this Lamborghini. And it's going to get shipped directly to Chick's home in the States, right? Chick's a bit like, oh, okay, but he gets given stuff all the time.
Yeah,
so he's like, he just assumes the guy was talking about the gig, and he just courteously, accepts the keys, and it's done, right? It's a diamond encrusted, in condition key.
Yeah.
So the reception's over. You're driven back to the hotel in the same limo with Chick. Do you shrug your shoulders? You chalk it up? Or do you tell Chick to sort out your new wheels? I love the fact you're hesitating.
I'm still just enjoying the fact that I'm getting to play on that piano.
No, come on, mate. No, sorry. There's no procrastination here. I'm sorry. Do you shrug your shoulders and chalk it up, right? Or do you tell Chick, mate, that Lamborghini should be mine?
I think I do that like really awkward British thing where you'd be like, I'll ask Chick like how he felt the gig went.
Oh, mate, seriously?
And then just like, see where that conversation went.
Oh, mate, come on. No. It's one or the other. Are you saying, Chick, that Lambo's mine. I would play the piano. Or do you think, you know what? Just forget it.
No, I'd shrug. I'd forget it. Yeah, I'm not too bothered about Lamborghinis. Yeah. If it was a piano, if he was going to get endorsement from...
I knew he was going to say that. I tried.
Fancy only pianos or something.
Okay, next scenario. A week after your gig with the Billionaire, right? You jet off to the States, straight into initial rehearsals and auditions with Ariana Grande, because you've just got the MD musical director gig in her band, right? So you're in your hotel one evening, a call comes up from reception, it's the Billionaire. Wants to have a quick chat in a private area of the bar downstairs. Yeah.
Wants to know where his Lambo's gone.
You go downstairs, he's sat there, right? He says, Phil, he heard about the mix-up with the Lamborghini. He's feeling really bad about it, right? So instead, somehow, he got his people to talk to his other people, and they organised paying off your mortgage completely, right? Because it's like chicken feed to him, right? Today, we did a transfer that your mortgage is gone. Because that version of Spain just completely moved me, right?
Yeah, wonderful.
Almost on cue, right, when he tells you this, there's a knock at the door. Young lady walks in, introduces this young lady as his daughter, right? Apparently she's an up-and-coming singer, yeah?
No.
She wants to be fast-tracked.
I know where this is going.
Through the auditions to the Ariana Grande gig. Right? So, she gives you a vocal burst. She said, I'm up. It's not great, man. It's not great.
No,
she's not amazing, right? So, do you... do you fast track her and think of a way to sell it to Ariana, or do you tell the Billionaire it's a no-go and find a way to give him back the mortgage money?
He's got to have the money back, I'm afraid. Yeah. Oh man, that's. Oh, you write these so well. The only positive from this is that I feel like if this situation ever happened, I feel slightly more prepared than I was 5 minutes ago.
Okay, right. Okay. This is really funny.
Tough, man.
Because you're so I knew you were reserved, right? I've had a couple of guests that are nice, but you're one of the nice people. You're just too nice. You're like, no, right, this is funny, very funny. Okay, right, last one. You've got the gig with none other than the great Eric Clapton.
Brilliant.
Yeah? You're going to be headlining Glastonbury. the final performance on the main stage, closing the festival. As usual, broadcast to a worldwide audience. Okay?
Wonderful.
So Glasgow that year has been a complete and utter mud fest. Eric's really excited. He decides, I'm not flying by helicopter. I'm going to be like a regular punter. We're coming in a van. Yeah. Like all the regular people. He wants to just immerse himself in the Glastonbury experience. Yeah? Traffic onto the site is horrendous. Yeah? Because of this, you all arrive literally a minute before showtime. Eric's really excited, man. He jumps out the van excited. But in his enthusiasm, to revel in the Glastonbury atmosphere, he slips, lands face first down in the mud, man.
Oh, Eric.
You're about to go on stage, man. You're literally about to go on stage. Even though he's in a complete state, he laughs it off. He's like, I don't care. It's Glasgow. Climbs the stairs. You know, he's standing in the wings by the side of the stage. Broadcast is about to happen. Eric's manager is already waiting in the wings, yeah? He looks at Eric and he goes, there's no way I'm letting you doing a live TV dressed like that, looking in that state, right? So the manager scans the band. He scans the band, right? And he ascertains quickly you are the only one is the same size as Eric Clapton. He instructs you to remove your pristine shirt and your shoes so that Clapton can perform looking every part the superstar he is. Right, so do you get in the spirit of things and flash your abs and bare feet to a worldwide audience? Or you tell Eric and his manager to do one?
Oh, man.
What do you do?
Oh, man.
Come along.
Oh, man.
What'd you do? Do you do a flea? Do you do the gig?
Can I wear his clothes?
No. It's one or the other. You're bare-chested, right, and barefoot, or you tell him to do one. Which one you did?
I'm going to go number one. I'm going to go
Really?
number one. Yeah.
You're going to flash your abs?
I'm
Really?
going to go there. I'm going to go there, yeah.
You know
amazing.
what? This is one of my favourite, right, Twilight Pop quizzes. Because you're so reserved. This is hysterical. I love it, mate. You've been a great sport.
Man. I'm still really sad about the roads.
Oh, this is brilliant. Phil, you've been a star. We're done. Thanks so much for doing this, mate.
Thanks so much for having me. You legend, man.
It's been absolutely brilliant chatting with you, man. Absolutely brilliant. This is going to be fun. I'm going to love it in this one. This is going to be so cool. Right.
Thanks, man.
And like I said, we've got some stuff happening. We're going to do some playing. We're going to do some stuff. And always grateful, man, for everything you're doing on my music. It's always an absolute pleasure.
Man, thanks for all you're doing, man. Love these things. Absolutely love it. Love your music. Looking forward to the next time we can play in the same room.
It's mate, it's got to happen soon, you know. It's got to happen soon. See you soon. Take care, man.
Bless you, man.
That was oh man, that was funny. That was funny. Oh my gosh. That was so funny. Oh my lord. Hi to Matt. Hi to Paul. Orifo, what you saying? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was so funny. That was so funny. Guys, thanks for dropping by, everybody. I don't know how you put up with my complete and utter nonsense. Thanks for dropping by yet again. Hopefully, see you guys again next week. In the meantime, as per usual, my website is andrewsmall.net. One of the tracks you heard Phil blowing over, is on my album, What Happens Now. The new album is on the way. I'm very excited about it, actually. It's on the way. And when I say on the way, I've been saying on the way for a while, but it's actually on the way. It's imminent, guys. I'm very excited. So you can get my first album in all the usual places where you get your music. My social media handle, Andrew Small Drums. That's Facebook, that's Instagram. It's also YouTube. And as per usual, on YouTube, you can watch this whole show. I'm going to watch it again. You can watch the whole show. You can watch the whole show again later on today once I've uploaded it. And please, guys, please do subscribe to help me kind of support the channel. And, you know, do the whole thing, like, do the whole notification bell, do the whole bits, you know, do the whole thing. Just to kind of help me kind of keep the whole thing moving forward. Right, so that is the show. That is the show. I'm still laughing. Phil, you're a star. You're the man. You're the man. So, folks, have an amazing week. And I hope I see you guys again next time. Take care. See ya. Bye-bye.